Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. Guys, I find it fascinating how tattoos in One Piece always carry a profound meaning, whether as tributes, bonds between characters, or iconic stories. They aren't just marks on the body, they're declarations of purpose and memory. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Ace's tattoo, for instance, is a great starting point. That S mark, where the S is crossed out, is one of the most well-known and discussed tattoos in the series. For years, many fans believed each letter represented something. A for Ace, S for Sabo, C for Crybaby Luffy, and E for Edward Newgate Whitebeard. However, in the special chapter about Ace, we learned that he had this tattoo even before joining Whitebeard's crew. This means the real meaning is even more personal and mysterious than it initially seems. Apparently, the tattoo represents only Ace's name, but the crossed out S symbolizes Sabo. After all, when we first meet Sabo in the character's childhood, we're shown that he signed his name with a crossed out S, just like Ace's tattoo. That's our only confirmation, while the rest simply spells out Ace's name. Even so, this revelation makes us reflect on how tattoos can carry not only personal stories, but also the spirit of those who have marked our lives. That's why I believe that if Luffy ever decided to get a tattoo, it would be something very special. Luffy deeply values his bonds, his promises, and of course, his adventures. A tattoo on Luffy wouldn't be something impulsive, but something that carries eternal significance, representing the moments and people who have shaped his journey so far. I think one of the most exciting possibilities would be a tattoo as a tribute to Ace. Luffy always had a unique bond with his older brother, and Ace's loss was undoubtedly one of the most transformative moments of his journey. Maybe he'd tattoo something simple, yet meaningful, like the ACE symbol itself, but with a modification that represents overcoming and Ace's legacy. It could be something like the crossed out S, but accompanied by a straw hat, uniting the two in a unique symbol of their eternal connection. Another interesting possibility would be for Luffy to tattoo the Straw Hat Pirates emblem, their iconic Jolly Roger. As a captain, he always puts his crew first and takes immense pride in what they've built together. Such a tattoo could be placed somewhere visible, like his arms, showing the world that, above all, he's the leader of a crew that fights for their dreams. More than that, it would be a way to carry all his crewmates with him, no matter where he goes. I also believe Luffy might opt for something more subtle and personal, something not everyone would understand at first glance. For instance, he could tattoo an image or symbol referencing where he grew up, like a simple drawing of Mount Kolobo or the Dadan family's hideout. It would be a way to honor his roots and remember that even after crossing seas and facing powerful enemies, he's never forgotten where he came from. Another possibility would be a tattoo representing the dream he shares with many of his friends and allies. Freedom. Luffy has always been a symbol of freedom in One Piece, fighting against tyranny and oppression. A tattoo of a flying bird or a rising sun could be something he'd choose to represent his commitment to a world where everyone can be free. This kind of tattoo wouldn't need to be elaborate, but would carry a deep meaning aligned with who he is. And speaking of freedom, maybe Luffy would go for a tattoo directly tied to his straw hat, his greatest symbol of his dream. He could tattoo something simple, like the outline of the hat, or even a phrase like, "I will become the Pirate King," somewhere on his body. It would be a way to reinforce his determination, something he could look at in tough moments to remind himself why he's fighting. I believe that depending on when Luffy decided to get this tattoo, its meaning could vary. For instance, if he got a tattoo after defeating Kaido, it might be something representing the sacrifice and unity of Wano's samurai. A drawing of a sunset in Wano, for example, could symbolize the beginning of a new era. On the other hand, if he chose to do it after reaching Laugh Tale and discovering the One Piece, the tattoo could represent the ultimate treasure, whatever it may be, or a symbol of the true meaning behind Roger's journey. A more symbolic and even mysterious possibility would be Luffy tattooing something that only he and his crew would understand. For example, a symbol or phrase directly connected to Joy Boy's message or the legacy of the Straw Hat. Something like Nika or a small sun could be tattooed discreetly, maybe on his wrist or chest, carrying the weight of an entire story that connects past, present, and future. Another idea that comes to mind would be Luffy honoring everyone who helped him get to where he is, including not just Ace, but also figures like Shanks, Garp, and even his enemies, who in some way shaped his journey. He could get something like a stylized map of the Grand Line, showing the major milestones of his adventure, with small details representing each person or important event in his life. If Luffy were to tattoo something as symbolic as a sun, it wouldn't just carry the meaning of Nika, the sun god, but also represent everything he's become along his journey. The sun, as a symbol, isn't just a reminder of the joy and freedom he represents. It's also a beacon of hope for those who follow him. Nika, the sun god, is associated with liberation, victory over oppression, and the idea that no matter how dark things get, the sun always rises to bring a new beginning. Luffy, with his carefree yet incredibly inspiring nature, embodies this ideal like no one else. If Luffy were an Elbaf right now, this could be the perfect moment to consider something as meaningful as a sun tattoo. Elbaf is described as a land of epic stories, legendary battles, and a deep connection to culture and mythology. In this setting, where giants have their own traditions and beliefs, it's easy to imagine how the concept of the sun could gain even more depth for Luffy. Perhaps, as he learns more about the giants and their stories, he could feel a stronger connection to his own heritage as Joy Boy and decide that this is the right moment to make a permanent mark of who he is and what he represents. I think a fascinating possibility would be for Luffy to tattoo the sun in a visible place, like his chest or shoulder. This would make sense not only because it's a prominent position, but also because it symbolizes how the sun is always present, illuminating and guiding. A stylized, simple yet impactful design would be ideal for him. Something that matches his straightforward personality, but carries deep meaning for those who understand the depth of his journey. Another possibility would be for Luffy to incorporate elements of Elbaf's culture into the tattoo. The giants have a tradition of telling stories through symbols and legends. What if during his time in Elbaf, Luffy hears a story about how the sun is seen as a symbol of strength and rebirth by the giants? He could decide to tattoo a sun that incorporates Elbaf's stylistic details, like tribal patterns or elements tied to the giants' legends. This would not only make the tattoo unique, but also show how Luffy embraces the cultures and people he encounters on his journey. I also believe that Luffy might want to tattoo a sun as a tribute to those he has freed and those who have inspired him. The Sun Pirates, for instance, led by Jinbe, have the sun as a symbol of freedom, especially for those who lived under the oppression of the Tenryubito. A sun tattoo on Luffy would be a way to honor this legacy, showing that he carries not only his own dream, but also the dreams of those he has helped to liberate. If we consider the current moment in Elbaf, it would be interesting to imagine that Luffy might be inspired by something he experiences there. Perhaps a festival or a celebration among the giants involving the sun as a central symbol. He might find himself involved in a local tradition where symbolic tattoos or markings are used to commemorate great deeds or commitments to noble ideals. Being who he is, Luffy could get excited about the idea and decide to participate, creating a connection between his own story and that of the giants. Moreover, Luffy's choice to get such a tattoo now could be tied to the idea of awakening, since revealing his Gear 5 and the full power of the Gomu Gomu no Mi, or, as we now know, the Hito Hito no Mi, model Nika. It's clear that he has fully embraced what it means to be Joy Boy and the bearer of Nika's legacy. Tattooing a sun could be a way to mark this moment in his life, a declaration that he understands his role in the world and is ready to carry that burden with pride. What if Luffy chose a more discreet location for the tattoo, perhaps on his wrist or the back of his hand, where he could see it whenever he needed a reminder of what he's fighting for? This could also be practical, considering he's constantly in battles and adventures. A wrist tattoo would be easy to protect and, at the same time, serve as a source of strength and inspiration. Another interesting idea would be for Luffy to incorporate the sun symbol with other important elements of his life. He could combine the sun with the straw hat, creating a unique design that represents both Nika and his dream of becoming the Pirate King. Or perhaps he might opt for something more abstract, like sun rays that appear to embrace the straw hat, showing how these two elements are intertwined in his journey. I also think Luffy could get this tattoo as a gesture to inspire his crew and allies. He's the kind of leader who inspires through actions, but a symbol like this could serve as a constant reminder for everyone by his side. After all, the sun isn't just a symbol of Luffy or Nika, but of all those who believe in a future where freedom is possible. It would be a way to unite his crew and everyone who shares his ideals even more. That said, I also think there's a chance Luffy might never get a tattoo. He's someone who lives in the moment, carrying his memories in his heart, and doesn't need a physical reminder to remember who he is or what he's been through. However, if he were to mark his skin, it would be something that represents not just his story, but also his dream of a freer and fairer world. After all, in One Piece, everything has meaning, and a tattoo on Luffy would be no different. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.